perspective. Okay. Jason did a great job, and really the focus of his presentation was managing change on Fort Drum. And I thought that was just a great presentation. And lastly, but not least, I want to thank Cincinnati Creek for entertaining us at the dinner. They did a great job. In your packets, emails, you'll also find a proposed draft commission meeting schedule for 2023. Hopefully y'all had an opportunity to take a look at that. What we try to accomplish with moving our meetings around is that all of our councils of governments are truly represented in some way or form in these meetings. So we move them around the region, which is great in our 41 communities. Also, it looks like we'll be meeting 9 times throughout 2023, and that's a good thing. Any comments, any questions, any concerns about the meeting schedule as it's kind of presented here today?
Jan, I had one comment. You'll see that I worked in an April meeting before the local government conference.
Yeah.
We have, because of the way we're doing the LDC this year, we do have some things going on that Wednesday afternoon, our special drone session. So perhaps we treat that meeting as needed, or we could have it. I just wanted to point out that there is some stuff going on at Turning Stone during the afternoon. So we can talk about that maybe when
Driving time from
Floyd is
probably 20 minutes.
20 minutes or so. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I tried to find the closest place. We did it in Silver Beach last year. So Floyd's pretty close too.
Well, we can basically go ahead with the draft, and then if we need to make changes, we can just do it by resolution next year. Anyone have any concerns? No. Do I have a motion to accept the proposed draft Tug Hill Commission meeting schedule for 2023?
Moved. Second.
All those in favor?
All right. Aye.
Now, Bill, did you? I didn't. hear.
Yes.
Okay. All those in favor? Good. 2024 election of officers. In terms of our commission bylaws, for elections of officers, there's definitely a process that is outlined. Unfortunately, we missed one of those calendar dates by not being able to have a September meeting because of lack of quorum. There's some health issues there. With the missing of that meeting, we moved everything into our October meeting. And with the consultation of our counsel, Lee Wilbanks, at that time, we decided to have a nominating committee of the whole instead of the month prior having a appointed nominating committee. So at the October meeting, we had a nomination committee of the whole. And at that time, a slate of officers were nominated, and the slate of officers were Jan Bogdanowicz as chair, Mike Yearden as vice chair, and Tom Boxberger as secretary. Do we have any discussion around these nominations?
No.
Any discussion? At this time, I ask for additional nominations for our 2023-2024 slate of officers. I ask again, do we have any additional nominations for our 2023-2024 officers? I ask a third time for any additional nominations on the floor for our 2023-2024 officers. Being no additional nominations, I ask Secretary Boxberger to cast a ballot for the election of officers presented.
So cast.
Do I have a motion?
Aye. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
So moved. Thanks.
I like them.
I thought it was my glasses for a second there.
The gentleman in the back, I thought, so they're out there, elected, lights come on.
Because we had that election happen and
That is perfect.
That's wrong.
Thank you all for being willing to serve again.
Thank you, Leona.
Thanks, Leona. We'll be moving into a celebratory year for 2023, which is going to be our 50th anniversary, and the staff has been planning a lot of great events. I think our annual dinner, which we're going to hold later in October, is going to be a great event. So let's kind of, as we get into the holiday seasons, just let's look at what the commission has done so well over the last 50 years. And we'd like to see the commission continue in the core competencies that we do. That's planning, that's community development, and that's natural resource protection. So let's look forward. Let's give a round of applause that we made it 50 years. Yes. And let's look forward to our 50th year and a celebration. That will definitely be a great year and a great celebration here. With that, let's turn it over to Katie for the executive director report.
Thanks, Dan. You already mentioned our newest staff member, Gabriel Yurden, started on November 10th, and we're really happy to have him on board. We are putting a pause on our planner search, so we have another vacancy with Elena's departure. We've been advertising that for 2 or 3 months now, and the normal places. We had a few resumes, we did a few interviews, didn't quite find the fit that we're looking for at this point in time. So we're gonna pause for a few months and re-advertise in the spring, like around March, and see if we can attract some additional candidates for that position. Right now, there's a lot of planning positions open and not a lot of planners to pick from. A lot of our partner agencies are having the same problem. Jefferson County's had some vacancies for a while. We hear about it. Oswego County, actually, we were on a call with Dave Turner like a week or two ago, and he said that he had someone all lined up for a job, and last minute the person got scooped right by someone in Rochester. So it's just a really tight job market for planners right now. But we're in good shape with Matt and Matthew. We call them Matt and Matthew just to try to like differentiate, but the two Matts have got it under control for now, and we'll keep moving forward on that in the spring.
And the thought process in the spring is going to bring what? Just a
new crop of potentially, we advertised it as a planner / senior planner. So we were kind of giving ourselves really a lot of latitude. We would prefer a senior planner, so we had someone that Matt wouldn't have to do quite so much training with, but I'm not sure that's confident that's going to happen.
Right.
So we've had such good luck with Matthew being kind of fresh out of college and taking right off that might be what we end up doing in this coming spring. So we're thinking of another round of graduates in the spring. And we're going to ask Matthew if he has any leads with any of his former student colleagues. So
And from a Department of State standpoint, we shouldn't have any problems with keeping those
I don't think
positions.
so.
Okay, good.
I mean, we'll keep an eye on when the draft budget for 23-24 comes out, make sure we still have all of our slots there. It's actually been very simple lately to get paperwork through. So I want to take advantage of that when it's there. I don't anticipate anything changing, but you just never know.
Right.
I've been keeping them in the loop, so we'll see what happens. And I know, speaking of DOS, they just actually brought on a few people too. They've got some new people going through their training program, so it seems like everybody's been able to hire, which is a good thing.
In talking with the folks from the cannabis department, they've just brought on 126 people.
Oh my.
So the floodgates are still open. Okay.
I can only imagine trying to train 126 people.
That's revenue generating.
So on that note, the LGC registration mailing we are having the Office of Cannabis Management present again this year, because we reached out and said, well, do you think you have new stuff to say? Oh yeah, we got new stuff. There's a lot going on with that. So you'll all see that you have one of our registration flyers printed out in front of your spot. These went to the printer, I think last week, so they should be in the mail to all our local government officials this week or next. Working with Coughlin, this has been a real group effort at the office. Our LGC committee is Jen and Felicia, Gwen, Carla, Angie, and myself. And also tapping into all of our staff for ideas of speakers and topics that are pertinent. So there's a lot in this, and we're hoping that we've displayed it in a way that people will understand what we're doing. But we've got the full regular LGC sessions here, the Thursday and the grid, and those are the normal. And then on the back, we talk about the new this year Wednesday afternoon session that's going to focus on drones. And we are working with the Genesis Group. They have a drone education program to put together that afternoon of activities and sessions. It's really going to be a combination. The drone part will be a combination of lecture and hands-on. They're going to have mini drones. There's going to be a couple of rooms to do some playing with them, crashing them, doing obstacle courses with them. So it's not just, it's not just going to be talking at you for 3 hours about drones. It's going to be actually letting people experience what it can do. And we are hopeful that
Where's the cannabis? There's one here that it says potluck. Is that it?
it is to be an update on the implementation.
Oh, okay. Potluck, that would be a good name for it.
There's a lot of good stuff here. We're hopeful that this will be attractive to people. We're still offering the 2 ways to register online with a credit card, in paper, with a check. Please if you want a hotel, let Felicia know. I know she sent an email out last week to everybody for hotel rooms. We did get state rate this year, so that was a good thing. We're not in the tower with the rooms. We're in something else right there. It's right still within the facility, but it's just a little different spot. Yeah, so we're really looking forward to it. And also keep in mind, the reception is Wednesday night. It's not Thursday night at the end of the day. It's Wednesday night after the drones, before full day of the LGC. We've kind of switched that around too. So take a close look at this.
So there'll be no dinner, it'll be a reception then, or?
Yeah, Wednesday it'll be hors d'oeuvres and a
Good.
cash bar.
I think that would work well.
Yeah, and we're getting away from the reception at the end of the day when everyone's gonna be driving home.
Yeah.
You know, we're trying to just be a little more cognizant of that sort of thing too. We've tried to hold the line a little bit with our fees. So you'll see on the second page, the early fees by March 3rd. The Wednesday session 75, the full day Thursday sessions 85. We were at 75 for the full day last year. We increased it a small amount, but we didn't want to go too far and then turn people off. We've been really pushing to get additional sponsorships from businesses this year. And we've had pretty good luck so far with attracting some new businesses to come and be silver, gold, platinum sponsors, because we've got to make up the income some way. If you remember, we were in the hole last year on this, and we really need to be breaking even. So let's keep our fingers crossed. Food costs have went up significantly, and we actually don't even have final food numbers from Turning Stone. They gave us their best guess that they were going up between 20 and 30% from last year. So we're kind of shooting in the dark a little bit with some educated guesses on the budget and money. So just full disclosure, we're doing our best. But if we had went to $100 for the full day, I was worried that would be too much for municipalities. So we're at 85. Any questions? As Jan mentioned, 50th anniversary. We are starting those celebrations now. I do have the Secretary of State hopefully confirmed for our speaker for the annual dinner in October. It is on his calendar. So hopefully nothing changes between now and then, but we're on there early and he would be great to have. We are kicking off the poster contest that we discussed at the last meeting. You have a copy of the poster flyer in your packet. Taylor sent this out to all the schools in the region on Friday. This is to try to generate some youth involvement in Tug Hill, and this winning poster will go on the front of the LGC brochure. So give them a lot of, space to be recognized, and we'll probably invite them to our annual dinner and do a couple of other things to recognize. So if you know anybody in the schools, this is geared towards high school students. So please get that word out. I was hoping to have Tug Hill Roasters coffee for us today, but it's not quite done. We've been working with them as well on a kind of a 50th anniversary label for the coffee that they make, since they've done that for a lot of organizations. They've done it for Tug Hill Tomorrow Land Trust in the past to like kind of recognize special things. So we have generated a little nice label with some wording. Taylor did the graphics, so we wrote some wordage up, and that should be out anytime. And that'll be a special run coffee that celebrates the 50th anniversary. I'll let everybody know when it's in the store. We're going to buy those for our speaker gifts for the LGC. We're not making any money on this. It's really purely just to try to get the word out to the general public about us and our 50th anniversary. What else should I have? That's basically it for now. So we're starting, and we're starting to use the logo. The logo is on the conference, or is on this poster. Our 50th anniversary logo. We'll put that on the letterhead, and we're putting out our email signatures and stuff. Just a little something to celebrate the 50th anniversary. And in 2023, another big thing we have going on is our local leader survey. Believe it or not, it's been 5 years since we've surveyed our local leaders. And remember, we have to do that every 5 years as part of our legislation. So we are starting to think about that and gear up. As far as the timing goes, I'm wondering if we might be better off waiting till after the LGC to get it out, wait till end of April, beginning of May. We'll meet soon after the new year to figure out timing and process.
So we just want that probably for our October meeting.
Yeah, we'll
Okay.
want the results. I have to look back 5 years ago what the timing was. We report those to the governor and the legislature, and I think, yeah,
It's got to be before the election
it's
then.
good. Yeah, it would be in the fall.
Yeah.
And remember, we get a lot of we get a very high response rate to that. Jean was the one in charge of it last time we did it. It was close to 60%. I want to remember. I pulled the file to remember how we did it, and so
We were using Snap then.
Snap then, so it'll be a different process now. Yep. Yeah. We're talking about Google surveys and some print surveys as well. So that'll be a new thing to try it in a different method, but I have confidence that we'll get good response rate again. In your packets too are updated Assembly, Senate, and congressional maps. We had an election, as everyone knows, and we have some old representatives, some new representatives, and some people that have just switched from Assembly to Senate. So take a look at this. We do have one outstanding state Senate race that has not been decided yet, the 50th, which is in the southwest corner of the region, the Hastings, West Monroe, Constantia area. That's being hand counted still, and I haven't heard any final determination on that one yet. But we do have a new Senator Walczyk in the 49th, which is, all these boundaries have changed, but it's generally what Richie used to have with some changes. We still have Senator Griffo in Oneida County now. He has lost Lewis County. Lewis County is all Walczyk's. We have now 5 assembly districts. I think we had 4 before, maybe we had 5, but this shifted. We've got a new Assemblyman Scott Gray in Watertown. We still have Will Barkley and Oswego and a little bit of Jefferson. We still have Ken Blankenbush, who has probably 2/3 of the region. If you look at the 117, Bob Smullen has a little bit, and Miriam Bunchon has Floyd. So we'll be reaching out and doing meetings with them very shortly too. And then we have our congressional districts. We've got 3. We've got Claudia Tenney in the 24th, Elise Stefanik in the 21st, and Brandon Williams in the 22nd. And that's someone I do not know at all. So we need to find some contacts with that individual. So just, it's the constantly changing people that we need to keep informed of what the commission does and aware of all that we have to offer. For that, I think that's enough for me, because I know we have Joel here to do a presentation, and I don't want to take up any more time.
Did you want to just give a quick overview of your conference in Phoenix?
My trip to Phoenix was good. It's a beautiful city. Unfortunately, I got sick when I got out there, so I was struggling to go to the sessions. I did go to all my sessions, but then I would go back to the hotel room and just kind of crash. I had some kind of stomach thing going on. It was a good conference. I did learn a lot. There was a lot of talk about climate and climate resiliency. There was a lot, the Army just adopted a new climate strategy, and they're all about how to implement it, and the other armed services as well. Fort Drum seems to be being very proactive, came back and talked to some of the folks out on post, and they're already doing a lot of things I was hearing being talked about in Phoenix. There's things about microgrids using renewable energy. They're actually just starting a look at the Black River as a hydro source. They've got Army Corps doing some initial analysis of that, since it's right, adjacent to Post. They're also looking at solar, which could benefit some other projects we're involved with. So yeah, it was a very good, there was a lot of people there. It was unfortunate. I was the only person from Fort Drum. Nobody from Garrison came. And usually there's someone from Garrison at these things, as well as the civilian community. I did meet some folks from the Niagara Reserve. That was the other New York people that were there. But it's, when you look at our forces, there's a lot from the South and there's a lot from the Southwest. So it was really, a lot of that was kind of, and issues that they've got going on overshadowed more of the Northeast sort of thing. But it was very good to get your head around a lot of the issues and to meet some people.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks. With that, Joel Bartlett, Supervisor, I guess you have a presentation for us.
And at 50 district with hand, the county's done with their hand count.
It's like 50 votes.
Oh, that's.
Turn Leona. she can say.
Oh,
You guys might have to turn around, because I think he's gonna be back that way.
I don't know how good this thing worked. I had to take it out of our record. So there's. We have a backup.
Oh, we have backup then. Watch out. I don't.
Could you turn those, turn all those lights right back there?
Huh?
Proved all my critics wrong, didn't I?
Let me start it off. Thank you all for coming, and thank you very much for the opportunity. Tom asked me about a month ago if I would put on a small presentation here, and I said, well, kind of reluctant because I'm not used to doing these a lot. And with a group this size, I've got 20 handouts here. I don't know if it's going to be enough, but if we could have those passed out, I would appreciate it very much. That's kind of a brief overview of what I'm going to show you today. We are very proud. The town of Watertown, I'm proud of our planning board. I'm very proud of our town council and our zoning board of appeals. We seem to be the only town that grows a lot in this region. With the new housing and development, we had to go through a redistricting at the county legislative level because of new housing development, people moving into the town of Watertown. Our population increased, so they had to reshuffle everybody. So instead of having just one legislative representative at the county level, now we have two. So at least I'm almost guaranteed of at least one vote out of the two. But thank you again for coming today, and I'll try to be brief. We've got a number of things I'd like to go over with you. Some of the development and growth that we're having in the town. This year, starting in the spring, we're going to be commencing on well over $110 million worth of projects. Wow. With $5.2 million going into the Northeast Water District, which services Outer State Street and Upstate Street Hill. We have water district improvements, sewer district improvements on Arsenal Street that totals around $5 million. We've got the Northland Estates trailer park down the road here on Route 11. They've had a lot of water issues, and the state health department has provided them and us with a consent order to remedy the situation of the poor infrastructure that breaks in the spring and the water quality they have. So we got another $10 million that's being invested in that project. The pride and joy of our project list is our event center. I don't know if many of you have heard of it or not, but we have been successful in attracting private sector investors to a total of $55 million in an $80 million project. We will be going to the state for some assistance. Let me see if I can make this up. know, if anybody can read that. It's kind of worry on our mind. Let me go this way. Excuse me, let me sit down and look at this thing. See if I can get through this without too much confusion. The Town of Watertown Council several years ago commissioned a group from New York City, Venue Strategies. Their main offices on Park Avenue in New York. They're one of the best in the country at doing market analysis, feasibility studies, and community development projects. What we have discovered through their efforts over the last 3 years, there's a market here that stretches within a 2.5 to 3 hour drive to Watertown. That market starts north of Ottawa. It goes south of Syracuse and as far east as Plattsburgh and west as Rochester. There's a whole central part of the state of New York that is not serviced by any multi-purpose event center. Our event center is 520,000 square feet of indoor space. And it consists of the 520,000 square foot multi-use indoor facility that provides state-of-the-art space for a complete range of sports, recreation, entertainment, and special events, servicing the 1,000-mile North Country region of Southern Ontario, Canada. The projected start date and opening date of this project is January of 24. The location is on the Arsenal Street Road in the town of Watertown, which is just past Bosse's on Route 3. We've acquired 56 acres of property in a new Jefferson County Agricultural Park that is going to be servicing the project that will be built, owned, and operated by the management group, the investors, the Oakview Group, and MS2 Sports. Mike Sherman Sports is the tip of the spear for the investors. Mike Sherman is, you might know that, remember the name. He's the former head coach and general manager of the Green Bay Packers and the Miami Dolphins. He has partnered up with the Oakview Group, which is the world's largest purveyor of sports and entertainment facilities in markets like we have discovered. This being a B market in this area, they have primarily operated within the A markets, which would be New York City, Cleveland, Seattle, all the larger cities in the country. They have currently $10 billion in ongoing construction projects. Two of the latest projects that they just completed were for the Seattle Kraken, the new home for the Seattle Kraken professional hockey team, and the UBS Arena in Belmont, New York, which is the new home for the New York Islanders. One of the things that attracted them was the market that was discovered here, and we had to verify through a third-party economic impact group, the EKG group, or excuse me, EKA group out of Buffalo. They confirmed that there was enough market here, and the project of this size was sustainable and would be successful. We shopped the market. This whole plan that was put together over a period of 3 years and involved 240 pages of material. I'm not going to burden you with that. I shrunk it down to 45 pages, and then just over the weekend, I shrunk it down even further to give you a general idea of what we're doing. Because I know attention spans to find details are very short, especially if you have to do a lot of reading. One of the good events that happened to us was that after we completed the study and the market analysis, we shopped this project to see if we could find private sector investors. And the first group that we shopped it to was Mike Sherman Sports and the Oakview Group. Mike Sherman Sports, as I mentioned before, Mike Sherman is a former coach, professional football coach. He's retired from that field, although he does get called back to work from time to time with his son-in-law, who is the head coach of the Cincinnati Bengals. He gets called in to help his son-in-law out from time to time when they get into trouble with the front line or something in the backfield. But they really like the idea of this project, and they were the first to sign on board because they are moving into what they call B market areas. They have primarily been operating in A market areas. Now they want to come in and get a foothold in the B market areas. That means populations, places that aren't actually population centers, So if you look at the radius of, and Watertown being the central location of this new market area, we've got 4.2 million people that live within a 2.5 hour drive of Watertown. Why did we pick the location where we have the land, the property? We chose that because it is of its proximity to Route 81, the airport, shopping and hotels. The managing partners are very excited to get started. They would like to start in January with the groundbreaking ceremonies and be open January of 24. It takes them approximately 10 weeks to build this structure. The facilities would include 2 indoor turf fields, 8 basketball courts, 16 volleyball courts, a 220-meter banked hydraulic track. Nowadays, it's changed a lot since I was in high school and ran track. We used to run on cinders on a flat ground around the football field. Now, for Division I and indoor track field, you have to have the tracks elevated, so the corners have to be hydraulically come up out of the concrete. And then when it's not in use, it's retracted. The 220 banked hydraulic track will allow us to have Division I competition here. That's all the big colleges. It includes 2 NHL ice sheets, 16 wrestling stations, 8 pitching and batting cages for baseball, softball, and gymnastics, dance area. It also provides us with 265,000 square feet of flexible clear span space for trade shows, conferences, and meetings. There's no facility like that in the North Country region. This facility is in itself will make us a true year-round destination. Currently, we have the Thousand Islands, which everybody likes to enjoy in the summer months, but when September 1st rolls around, the sidewalks roll up. And it's very slow here. The hotels are suffer a lot through the winter months. This will certainly provide additional uses of hotels. I'll get to the hotel section in just a second here. The facility itself, in addition, will create, we'll have 9,000 seats for concert shows, sports competitions, special events with a special multimedia suite for all the multimedia that's attached to Division I, high school, and scholastic sporting events. Fitness, wellness programs, and sport performance space will be provided along with daycare, sports bar and restaurant, and a cafe. 3 fully lighted outdoor turf fields. Actually, there's 5 on the deck now that's being considered. There are 5 outdoor lighted turf fields for competition play, camps, clinics, and tournaments. It'll be the new home for the Seattle Seahawks, the Seahawks Hockey Club and the Liverpool Brandon Soccer Academy, the Nancy Kerrigan Figure Skating curriculum, and MS2 Sports Junior Lacrosse. And hopefully it'll provide access to additional fields for the Watertown Red and Black. One of the things that Coach Sherman has been involved in since he left being pro coach is youth sports. He currently resides on Cape Cod. He has a league that he owns now that goes from Cape Cod up into Maine as far as hockey, junior hockey, and hockey. The major part of their program, their model, is not to take away from local fields and athletic venues. We do not do that. They do not cannibalize anything. Matter of fact, they come in and they provide an enhancement for all the local at these fairgrounds arena, the soccer and lacrosse fields, the football fields at the fairgrounds, all the turf fields that you have at the high schools and junior highs. One of the things that you would note if you've ever been to any of the large scale lacrosse tournaments they have outside of Albany, they have 15 fields going all at one time. And we can certainly make the city's fields busy during the tournament time. And a lot of their program is involved around tournament play, all the way from junior high and all sports up through Division I college. Currently, they are working on, and they have signed up with colleges, St. Lawrence University, Potsdam, Canton, Ithaca, a number of colleges. They are going to be forming a new tournament called the Thousand Islands International tournament. It'll involve Canadian teams from Division I colleges in Canada. They will be accessing and using this facility as well during the course of the year. What the benefit is great to all the local people here. And the good thing about it is there's no investment of local tax dollars. There's nothing going on here in anybody's tax bill to pay for this project. It's all privately funded with some assistance from the state. 220 construction jobs will be started in the spring. And $207 million in short-term construction payroll. The event center will be used. 250 event days are scheduled now. And 305,000 visitors will come to this center annually. That's 15 times the population of the city of Watertown. That's new people coming to the area. Of those, 93,500 additional overnight stays in hotels will be required. We don't have enough hotel rooms. We're working now with people with the site locators for all the hotel flags. We're looking at citing 5 new additional hotels because of this project. Then the hotels they're looking at, the sites they're looking at are just north of Alex Bay to down in Leader, Barclays town of Pulaski, south of Pulaski. So it has a huge far-ranging a scope of operation, and people coming to the area is going to be a wonderful boom to the area and truly make this a year-round destination. Now they're looking at creating 38 full-time jobs with work at the center, and there are over 100 jobs that are associated with ancillary jobs as far as chartering, transportation charters, busing from the inner city out, and busing from other areas. Hotels and restaurants will increase their staff because of the increase in the business and the tourism related dollars. A lot of people don't realize that the tourism sports industry, they call sports tourism, takes advantage of clinics that Coach Sherman and his group put on. They are normally a week in length. They bring in people like Brett Favre, quarterback, hockey players that are professionals that are in the off season. They'll have skating from Nancy Kerrigan Skating Academy. They'll be giving clinics. That is going to call for an additional 45 units of housing to house people and students in for the week that they're here. Parents, we hope, and I'm sure they will do some traveling while they're in the area, visit Thousand Islands and spend their money around the city of Watertown in the retail commercial district that is out on Marshall Street. The project itself, as I said, is 500 and provides 550,000 square feet of space, indoor covered space, and it can be used year round. Some of the renderings I have here, some of these have been changed. You've got some in your packet that I handed out as well. Let me do this. Let me move down to the easel here. I can give you a better picture, I think. In that direction. This is the layout of the project. The property is controlled by the Thousand Island Local Development Corporation. That's an LDC that we set up 2 years ago. It was established by the town council. And we've been operating the last 2 years with the various people on our development team. The development team consists of Venue Strategies out of New York, the principals, investors, which is the Oakview Group, and Mike Sherman Sports. We've had a lot of success in luring, getting attention brought to this in B market areas. And certainly this meeting today, with you folks, we hope will stir the pot a little further and get people interested. The proposed facility is split, as you see here. If these two buildings were combined, you'd have a building that's 480 feet deep by 990 feet long. Unfortunately, the main area of property that we control at this point is only 900 feet wide.
Wow.
So we're going to be looking at annexing some parcels, 15 acres for the ice arena component into the town of Watertown from the town house field. You see the soccer and lacrosse fields here. Indoors is proposed indoor football field. And all the other amenities that I. Already go there. Track and field. Mezzanine area in the second floor is 2 stories will be handicapped accessible with elevators. Because you have the second floor where the restaurant is, sports bars. Pro shops and all that will be on the bottom. Locker rooms underneath the seating. There's plenty of seating. As I said, for concerts alone, we can seat 9,000. We're working closely with Live Nation. Who, you know, as you might be aware, they do all the booking for Syracuse, the State Fair, all the acts that come to the new amphitheater down there. They are heavily involved with this. They will be handling all the booking of the non-sports events that go on at the center. They have even offered to pony up some money to help with the project. The project construction team is LaChase Construction out of Rochester. They have worked with Mike Sherman Sports and the Open View Group on several projects, including the USB Arena in Belmont. They are going to be contributing $5 million to build this. So they know that they have a lot of faith in it. If a contractor wants to invest $5 million of his own money to get to build a facility, you know, that it's got to be a pretty healthy proposition to look at. Some of the kind of, you know, some of the sports bars and the facilities in the interior. We have a unique roofing system on this. It's similar to the one they put on the dome in Syracuse. So it's a fabric structure, tensile steel. Actually, and there's some of the similar type that's encloses the Salmon Run Mall here in Watertown. That's lasted for 40 years. So we have confidence in the roofing system. It's always difficult to put together when you're in the design phase of a project like this. Mike Sherman Sports has, at this time, they are starting the construction drawings. They've already been through the schematic drawings, and they've invested an additional $500,000 to pay for the cost of that. So basically, our LDC has spent little money, very little. It's and that's good because we don't have a lot. But we've so far we've added on a few people to assist in our endeavor with the state. We have a governmental affairs consultant that works with us and the people in New York State, the various departments, Empire State Development and such, where some of the funding from the state level can go through. We've been very successful there. We've got a Zoom conference Thursday with the new director of Empire State Development. He's statewide. And we're going to be bringing this project. The people in New York that normally do these presentations will be doing that one. Not me. I've got a face for radio and I work better in the dark. But we're very excited about the project and the enormous benefit it's going to be, because instead of rolling the sidewalks up every fall, every September, we're going to have an opportunity to bring people here year round for the activities. Like I said, there's nowhere in this market area in New York State or in Southern Canada that has a facility this size. If you imagine just some of the huge trade shows that can go on there, you can get into regional and national events, statewide events, where now we are very limited to using an ice arena in the city, which is undersized. And it's this is going to be a huge economic boom, we believe, to the area. The city gets sales tax revenue out of this. They get bed tax, increase in bed tax revenue. And it's no investment. No, we didn't ask the city for one dime. I have letters of support, resolution support from the city council. We did get that through without too much fuss. That was a unique situation. But we have letters of support we've got from Congresswoman Stefanik. We've had discussions with Senator Schumer and Gillibrand So we're working the whole political aisle, both sides of the aisle, because this isn't a Democrat project, this is not a Republican project, this is a regional project that's gonna benefit everybody. Senator Schumer's and Senator Gillibrand are aware of the project, they are in favor of it. So we hope to utilize them, and well, I've got to meet with representatives from Congresswoman Tenney's office within the next 2 weeks to bring her up to date on where we are with it, in hopes that we can get some federal funding that might offset any decrease in anticipated state funding. What I gave you shows that we're looking for a $30 million ask from the state that has been changed. That is only one financing option that was available to the group investors. They have about 6 different financing plans. It's been kind of moving around because of the bond rates and inflation. The supply chain issues have slowed us down. As you know, everybody lost 2 years basically with COVID. And now we're reaching the point where we're just starting to gear up again in hopes that the bond market changes and the bond rates start coming down. The JCIDA and JCJDC support the project. The investors will be looking for a pilot agreement on the project. That would cut them down to a 50% tax liability. One of the other good reasons that this situated here in the town of Watertown, there's no local property tax. All the malls, nobody pays any property tax to them. We're one of 6 townships in the state of New York, and that's taken a lot of hard work for a lot of years, and some good work from the planning board and the zoning board of appeals and the town council to bring projects together, find buyers like we had for this. And it's been a pleasure to work with Tom and his group and the zoning board of appeals. And it certainly is a pleasure to bring this to your attention today. I apologize. It's kind of rambling, hit and miss here and there. But it's hard to remember 250 pages worth of information. And condense it down into what I have. And have any kind of order to it. So most of the time it's just ramble. If you have any questions, I'd surely appreciate some, and I certainly will answer any of the rest of my abilities.
Supervisor, I got a couple of questions here. I'm assuming out of the $15 million, that's going to be the PE portion?
The private development totals 55 million altogether.
55 million. What's the $15 million from?
That's cash, and then the remaining there's a bond number of dollars associated with the bonding that they are responsible for.
Okay, so the $30 million taxable bond issue, who's going to be the issuer of that? You know,
That'll be the JCIDA.
that'll be Jason. Okay, and the LLC that you incorporated through the town board, will that be a taxable organization or non-taxable?
That's a 501c3 tax exempt.
Not taxable. Okay,
It took us a couple of years to get that establishment. Some hard political battles, but we finally did get it, and it's working well, and we've been successful in working this project with little to zero investment.
and last question, Mike Sherman Sports and LaChase, what's their investment in this?
LaChase is the contractor. They are looking at contributing to 5 million.
Okay.
Is the number that I've been given.
Yeah.
One of the things, if you get a minute, I suggest you might want to Google the Oakview Group, OVG facilities. You'll give you a complete rundown. A gentleman by the name of Hank Bate is the founder of that. He's the managing director of it. Hank started out years ago back in the 70s as the manager of rock bands, Blood, Sweat and Tears, Joni Mitchell, REO Speedwagon, Journey. He had a number of them. He made so much money, he went out and started this development corporation that develops facilities like this. There's another facility like this that's being built similar to this in Springfield, Massachusetts, and there's another one being built in Watertown, South Dakota. So they're catching on and they're moving as quick as they can because they want to capitalize on the new market areas. Yes, ma'am.
Can you talk about your conference space and how many different rooms can happen out of your? If there's a huge conference space, maybe air walls?
Yeah, they use pipe and rope and drape. They can or slider walls is like this in this building here. You can set them up for any size.
Like 8 rooms perhaps?
All possible.
Yeah.
Is there dining facilities?
There will be a sports bar and a full service restaurant there.
Capable of catering or maybe not?
I can't really say because I'm not responsible for their programming. That's up to the investors, but I'm sure there'll be some occasions there where they'll allow catering. What we're doing, we're teaming up with Jefferson Community College to take advantage of some of their sports curriculum, sports events and activities curriculum there, sports management, facility management, and things of that nature. They will be using the center, using the facility. We've teamed up with BOCES as another partner in this. BOCES is going to be expanding their culinary curriculum, and the restaurant will be staffed by trainees from BOCES, along with professional people that operate in restaurants. But it's a win for everybody, including the local college and BOCES, because we're putting their students to work. One of the first projects we got going this spring is a new parking area that's on BOCES property. We have a ground lease from BOCES for, right now it stands at 8 acres for additional overflow parking. The students are going to be utilizing all of their expertise on the heavy equipment operators that are trained at BOCES. And so we're going to let the students build the parking lot. So that's a good hands-on experience for them. A lot of partners in this, a lot of moving parts all the time. And it changes day to day with financing options, so don't stick to that one that's in particular in your handout. Because I think that one's going to buy it right now because of the bond rates. We hope to get to the governor's office here in the next couple of months. Now that we're through the election, we've been hampered a little bit by COVID for a couple of years. It seems like every roadblock has been thrown out in place in front of us. We've had difficulties with congressional districting, assembly redistricting. The governor was deposed, a new governor, new staff. So we've it's kept us busy throwing out paperwork and bringing it to everybody's attention. And hopefully with now the governor's in for 4 years, things will stabilize a little bit. And we'll be able to get to see her and her staff. The gentleman that we are going to be having a Zoom conference with Thursday, as I said, he's the statewide director for Empire State Development. He also sits on the roundtable the governor has. There's 5 people that are her closest that make a lot of decisions. He's one of those 5. So we'll have somebody there. Hopefully they'll be bidding our proposition into the governor's office for some state help. It's not unusual that you ask for $30 million. There's a gentleman, his name is Eastman, who just shepherded the state investment of $600 and some million for the new Buffalo Bills Stadium. He got that done. He's now on board with this project, wants to help us get some state funding. Another group that's helping us, in addition to college, BOCES, is Park Strategies. For them, they were started by Senator Pothole, Al D'Amato. His group does a lot of good work there. They know all the intricacies of the state government, which levels you got to go to, who to talk to. So we have an in there with him as well. Lobbyists, but we're heavily represented. We've got a great development team. And we can't wait till spring comes when the ground gets broken on this. And hopefully I'll have Coach here in the next couple of weeks. And along with people from California, I had them all scheduled to be here a month ago, but one of them fell ill and had to cancel all the reservations and press interviews and everything he had set up for them 4 hours before they're supposed to arrive. So it set us back a little bit there, but we're used to roadblocks now. And
Joel, one last question. When do you feel confident that the January 2024 date is, like, when will you know that if you're staying on schedule or?
that can still be that's the targeted date still,
Okay,
even with it, as I said, it only takes 10 weeks to construct
yeah, that's fast.
the walls are 50 feet tall. And the outside walls are 50 feet in there. It's called tilt up construction. They pour the forms on the floor of the building. They pour the whole floor of the facility and let that cure. Then they form the walls on that and then stand them up with a crane and they just go right down the line. The longest part, I said, it would take for all the electrical sockets and the wiring and all that. That's the most difficult part, but that's all programmed into the walls when they're constructed. So it's a unique setup. A lot of shopping centers have done that way now. You go in Southwest, a lot of the areas have done that way. It takes a big crane to do that, but it's a lot quicker and actually saves you quite a bit of money. But the $80 million cost so far is that's inclusive of some inflation that we've had. Hopefully the inflation rates will come down a little bit and interest rates will come down as well. Any other questions? Well, thank you very much for your time. I apologize for the presentation. As I said, I have a face for radio and I'm better in the dark.
Thanks.
Good presentation.
Finance report.
Leona didn't probably expect to be put her.
Here's your jacket.
Oh,
So everyone, all the members should have,
thank you.
the December 9th financial report as well as some notes in your packet. And everything is going according to plan. There's nothing, I don't think, surprising here. We're on track for salary expenditures right now at 66% of our budget, and we're almost 75% of the way through the fiscal year, so that's good. Under the contractual, we're still waiting for an update on the car situation. We have it ordered. It's just a waiting game now. So we're hoping that comes through before March 31st. So it'll all happen in this budget year because we have it budgeted, and it would be really nice to have that. We have surplus the old RAV at this point. It's sitting up at DOT's facility north of the city waiting to be auctioned off. So we're down to one vehicle right now. We're just using the Fusion, and then personal mileage beyond that. We also have ordered a new copier that's also waiting. So there's lots of just shortages, and it takes time to get things in play. Everything else, I mean, we're a little over on a few of our items. IT, which we've talked about in the past, we've switched to a new IT company, so that's starting to, I feel like, even out. We've got over the big hump with changing over the system, so hopefully that'll continue. I'm happy to try to answer any questions, and Felicia's here too if you have any questions.
I just our weekly Hill Times. Do you know what the subscription with the number of people? Yeah.
I should know that because I sent it out for last time, but I would say we were about 700. Would you say, Gwen, for more than that? 750, 800? How many would you say, Gwen?
I would say about 1,200.
For Tug Hill Times?
Correct.
Right. I guess this is a question for the circuit riders. You know, we have new council people coming in every day. We have new planning board members coming across the 41 communities that we service. Are we kind of, you know, I think that's an inexpensive way to get our message out. Just curious, are we talking that up? Saying, hey, okay, you're a new council person. Give me your email address. We'd like to send you this on a weekly basis. I think that's important. I'd like to see that thing up 5,000 if we could. I mean, it's not going to cost us a dime.
No.
You know, that's a great way to get our message out. I'm wondering if that's changing much or how we're getting that message out. Just, is that something we're talking up at all in the council's government?
Well, like I know, like in the town of Floyd, town clerk does make sure that each council person gets a copy of the couple of times. And even going to those meetings, she has those copies out, and town clerk has copies out available, just people that come in.
Yeah.
So they'll take that and they'll print it and give a printed version to their board and the general public. I mentioned, I'm not sure if Phil mentioned, sometimes if there's an article that I'll take some articles from the Tocqueville Times for my announcements, but if there's something in there that doesn't relate to every time, I'll mention, you know, this edition of Tocqueville Times, there's this, you know, you might want to check it out. So we do push it a little bit. I mean, I'm sure we could probably push it more.
Would it be a difficult thing to do to ask the circuit riders to present that at the next board meetings and just say, hey, you know, this is a great messaging tool for the commission, for the area. There's a lot of good information here. Give me your email address.
Well, to that point, we do have a pretty thorough database of all of our local government officials, and we spend a lot of time keeping that up to date because they're constantly turning over.
Yeah.
So we do have a lot of email addresses and we're always updating them. Tug Hill Times automatically goes to every supervisor, mayor, planning board chair, zoning board of appeals chair in the region. And then we add anybody else who wants it. We haven't, I mean, we could take all of our email addresses and just dump it to them. I hesitate. I'd rather people opt into, but, and people do opt in all the time.
Mhm.
We do send everybody in our database headwaters. So that's, you know, the one once a year, and everybody gets that, either printed or email that's in the database. We could certainly maybe do something to expand and ask to people or, yeah.
You know, it's, there's no cost associated
No,
with
you're
this.
right.
And the other thing is, I think it'd be a great thing, even county governments.
Oh, yeah.
Like Lewis County, which the majority of the Lewis County is in our district, to make sure that every county legislator is getting that, what they do with it, they could delete it for all I care. But I would really like to see that flooded. And I think the key to our success here is the circuit riders. Because they're on the ground. You know what I mean? And it doesn't take much. Just give me your email address and we're going to send you something. If you don't like it, delete it.
I think it's a good idea.
But it really, if we, 1,200 to 2,000, I'd like to see that double. I really would. It's a great messaging tool.
It does go to a lot of, outside the region people too.
Yeah,
A
that's
lot of
great.
state people,
Mhm.
we have a function on our website. So if someone lands on our website for whatever reason, there's a, do you want to subscribe to Tug Hill Times? They can click a button and it goes to probably 200 or 300 people that have just asked for that for whatever reason. And I will say, like, I emailed it out for Gwen when she was on vacation last time around. And I got a few people emailing me back saying, thank you, or could you take me off your list? I'm not gonna be a councilman anymore, but there are people from Long Island that get it because they find that the information is useful, so.
I send it to my daughter weekly and
Yeah.
I said, why don't you just send Katie, send somebody at the commission office your email address? They'll set you up. There you go. You pant too.
It sounds like you think it's a valuable thing. We spend a lot of time every 2 weeks.
Putting it together,
Putting it
yeah.
together,
I mean, it's gotta be a struggle trying to come up with things every publishing of that, but.
Yeah, everybody has.
In response to the question, we've done it for a long time.
Yeah.
Since John's come on board, it's a little more routine than normal. But the assistant circuit riders get to go to, by design, a lot of the different municipality meetings, so that you become more familiar with who's who, what their function is, engage them in conversation prior to the meeting or afterwards, which is when they seem to have a lot of questions.
Sure.
And it provides the assistant circuit rider with a comfort level, so to speak, where they can just say, oh, hey, by the way. So that helps a lot. You're absolutely right in the capacity. It's free. They're out there anyway, and most of the folks are very accepting of that invitation.
Yeah.
So
The bigger that pool gets, the more you can talk about too. I don't know what that has to do with finance or lack of, it would cost us a dime, so, okay.
Remember, that used to be a print thing many years ago. And then we were trying to move people to email and limit the print. Then COVID happened and we said, you know what, we're not printing and mailing this anymore. It's
Yep.
purely an electronic publication. And I don't think anyone's upset about that anymore. There might have been a few holdouts that just don't do email. I guess a question, it's a PDF attached to an email. Is that working for people? Because I know there's a lot of other ways that you can do newsletters, but if it's working, I don't want to
Yeah, PDF works on my phone.
Yeah.
working for people. Okay,
Works on mine, so.
perfect.
I think it's still
Don't change
standard.
it.
Yeah, you see, like, I'll say the land trust, for example, you have it's like built into your email, kind of newsletter and we could go that way, but I like simple if the PDF works.
PDS is standard commercial use
Yeah.
for everybody
I
now.
think that's.
I
good.
don't even get a fax.
Mhm.
I mean, we have a fax machine. I think if you fax me, I don't want to do business with you.
I think it's PDF. How much fax?
Yeah.
Any questions about the financial report?
Good.
We really don't need any action on that, right?
No, I just wanted to, yeah.
Okay, good. Good. You have anything else on that? No? Public comment. Anyone have anything they want to talk about? The weather, the lack of snow? We talked about snowmobiling earlier. We talked about Tom Boxberger's first snowmobile.
I like the this.
You got cold too.
Yeah,
Well, lack of snow is an economic driver within the area because snowmobiling in your town and other towns in the Top Hill is big, so. You know, I got a lot of my employees running around with big crocodile tears because they spent $7,000, $8,000, $9,000 in snowmobile. They can't use it.
that's an inexpensive one too.
Wow.
Is it?
Oh, yeah, it's 15,000-20,000.
They're expensive.
Trail, Ron
God,
Russ
I've
has
never
changed
spent that
completely
much
this year.
snowmobile to get cold.
Trails.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Just wanted to ask how things were going with the lightning study.
I can,
Lot of
share what
flashes.
this- what was that?
A lot of, I said a lot of flashes.
So the big storm, at the end of November was generated a lot of data for, SUNY Oswego. They were very excited. They have teams that come from Oklahoma, believe it or not, when they anticipate a big lake effect storm, they fly here and they send off their weather balloons, they deploy their Doppler on wheels, they're doing their whole thing. They had a very good event and a lot of data during that storm. And there was a second smaller storm that they did get some additional data from, and now it's been nothing for the last couple weeks. So we really need snow for that too, because you had $1 million out there and a lot of equipment, and it's just waiting to measure snow and lightning. I do think there is a webinar coming up a little tomorrow that some staff are gonna sit in on. That's Scott Steiger from SUNY Oswego is putting on some preliminary kind of what they're seeing so far. I think from what I've read that they did see some lightning associated to the wind turbines during the big storm. They were very excited about it. There's a Twitter account that they are sharing their information to, and it's above my head. I mean, it's very sciencey and like there's graphs and words that I don't understand, but they're very excited. So I think it's going well. We did help them. So they sent off 3 of their weather balloons during that big storm. They immediately got 2 of them found and they reused these, you know, they're expensive. They have a lot of expensive instrumentation on them. But the third one was in a snowbank somewhere east of the city of Watertown, and they couldn't find it. They went up to try to find it, couldn't find it because they got 5 feet of snow there. And so our agreement is if they need help, send us the GPS coordinates. We'll use our GIS system to look and see who the property owner is. So they did that. We looked up the property owner, got that to Scott. He ended up driving up here, meeting with them. They poked around, couldn't find it. The snow started to recede. The guy, I don't know, they've ended up you know, locating it and they've got it back because they have an instrumentation that sends off a GPS signal so they can know where it is. So far they haven't had to get them out of any trees that I know of or send in the snowmobiles into the interior of Tug Hill, but you know, we really would like some more snow. So that's pretty much what I've heard so far, but tomorrow I think there'll be some more very interesting information.
It is the red field right on the ball field. We have one of the substations.
Yeah.
Location now.
I have one across the road from my house.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
When I first seen it, I called the supervisor, I was wondering what it was. I was thinking maybe somebody from campus to put up a communication channel or something, but yeah, he said they had it set there, so.
Anybody else? Nothing. Mark, welcome. Yeah, no, nothing. All right. We decided because of time that we're going to give all of our councils of government and our circuit riders a break. We're not going to have a council of government report today. Last thing I did forget, I did want to say thanks for putting together the continuing saga of the Constable Chronicles. I watched that on the 30th. That was done really well. I enjoyed that. Looking forward to the next one on which is going to be the 29th. Is what's the next one?
January.
Which is going to
Snow
be
Ridge.
Snow Ridge.
Yes. Yeah, so Jen and Taylor take all the credit for the Constable Chronicles,
Oh.
Taylor.
Yep.
They're pointing at each other. And they also have been the ones doing the legwork for Snow Ridge coming up at the end of January. And that is gonna be a hybrid event. It's on a Sunday.
Yep.
So you'd really be better off being at Snow Ridge, I think, for it. It'll be much better if you're in the room. There's gonna be a panel of presenters. But we are offering it hybrid if people can't travel or whatever.
Will the bar be open at that?
I would imagine it would be. And probably skiing too.
Okay.
Skiing and drink and then watch the
That's, I
dancing.
know why it was scheduled that way, because they are gonna be open for business, so we wanted to be sensitive to the events that they had going on.
I'm sure you get people who could
Well,
were out for the day to
I
just see us.
2 p.m. so that way, when it's over, people can go night skiing if they'd like. They, after they do their walk through history with the technology, they'll get to really enjoy the joys of night skiing, because that wasn't always possible.
Perfect.
It will be rolled into 75-ish anniversary for themselves. They're not counting the 2
Oh.
years for COVID, so hopefully it'll be pretty busy. And we do have to look out some of the kinks with how we're gonna handle attendance, I think, but because there might be some walk-ins too, but.
Good, good, thanks. Anything else? I want to wish everybody a happy Christmas, a happy Hanukkah. And hope your 2023 is a great year.
Safe New Year's.
Safe New Year's. Yeah,
And keep in mind, food is gonna be delivered shortly, and so we're gonna have lunch here. We're gonna rearrange the room a little bit, so everyone is invited to stay for lunch, just some social time.
perfect. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
We do.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you for coming.
Very nice.
Thank you,
Bye,
Leona.
Thank you. I'm sorry I couldn't be there.
That's all right, feel better.
We'll see you in the new year.
Okay, I will be. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.